Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to Jay's One Key event, 3rd edition, also known as JOKE3. We are rolling right along through the start of this quarterfinals weekend. And oh boy, do we have another very exciting showdown for you guys here. Today we've got a losers bracket match between D3kuu and Jakson. Both players looking to try and keep their losers bracket run alive in this match to make it to the second half of quarterfinals weekend. As always, my name is Sparky and I am joined in the commentary booth by none other than Teezel. Teezel, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Pretty cool match that we have here. D3kuu seeding 10th place with Jakson at 20th. Both players kind of making a bit of a name for themselves. D3kuu, having played in a previous year, single tap only, but has come back for JOKE3, learning how to alternate and really showcasing what he can do. Jakson, don't know much about them as a player, but they did get turned into an emote in the server, so you know that they've left their mark in One Key.
Yeah, already. Their first appearance in the One Key scene, pretty prominent standard player. But very well-rounded, has made numerous appearances in other game modes as well. And diving on down into the One Key realm, it looks like we got the rolls, the bans out of the way very quickly. Got everything set up rather fast. Rolls 34-40, Jakson winning that one out. The bans were SV and Rice 1. Unsurprising they're on the SV front, but Rice 1 getting banned out is actually a tiny bit surprising. As we move on into the first pick, it is LN1 and Warzone.
Yeah, this one is kind of, this type of LN map, it's really focused on pretty fast changes between kind of your LN releases, I'd say. Unless I'm totally forgetting how the map plays. But this intro isn't too bad. We have these very, very short LNs that almost play like regular Rice notes, just paired with some longer ones at the end, and getting mixed into the middle. D3kuu finding some very early misses, so not too sure what's going on there.
Yeah, just not hanging on to these LNs.
Jakson, on the other hand, off to an incredibly strong start, holding over 99 accuracy. Still with that full combo as well, the score lead is already over 60,000.
Yeah, usually in this realm about 4%. Like, usually a singular miss is enough to decide some of these matches, but when you spot your opponent numerous percentages in terms of accuracy discrepancy, it can really balloon things out of proportion, and Jakson looking really comfortable going through that 1/8 roll, misses on a transition out of it, but has done more than enough damage to secure himself a 6-digit lead going into the last third of the chart. Deku really not comfortable on these releases right now. Numerous amounts of slider breaks. The rice section's not giving them too much trouble, but once the longer LMs make their reappearance, that's really where the misses have been coming out here.
Yeah, this map a bit different to how I remember. Absolutely littered with these really short LMs. And Deku's the one that's kind of suffering in the accuracy in them overall. But, you know, if we take a look, this was Jackson's first pick. Very clearly confident in this first pick, taking the win with a lead of almost 200,000 points, 947k to 755k. So, you know, clearly not Deku's skill set, and we'll probably move over to something like Rice or Speed in their own picks.
Yeah, sure enough, true to form, not wasting any time, going straight into that stream pick. So, end time going to be the decision here. A little bit faster than Angel Dust from last weekend, but I would imagine this is a little bit simpler in terms of the amounts of curveballs that get thrown at you. Just some little 1/6 bursts here and there. Pretty easy to latch onto rhythmically as well. It's really just, once you start, you really don't stop until you reach some of those break sections.
Yeah, for sure. The stream maps are just kind of getting harder and harder every week by just making the streams longer, faster, and just a bit more dense as well with the higher BPMs. But as you have said, also throwing in a bit of 1/6 as well to kind of also further increase that difficulty. So it's not purely relying on just who can kind of like ult the fastest. There is still kind of like that transitioning skill between 1/6 and 1/4 being implemented too.
Yeah, but you really can't underestimate some of these 1/4 patterning. As you can see, Jakson picking up the first miss of this chart. Just, I think, overstreaming one of those 1/3 or 3-note gallops in the transition out of that introduction. And things are going to take a little bit before they get into the real meat and potatoes. A bit of an opportunity for the players to build up some accuracy here as we transition back on in the build-up.
Yeah, it looks like this is very much more within Deku's skill set. Still over 99.9 accuracy. And I don't believe has dropped a single 200 yet.
No, very much on course for a V1 double S at the moment, but we get into the real first major stream section. Only minuscule gaps in between some of these piano runs and the 1/6 making their little sneaky appearances in and around. I think they're actually 1/8 now that I think about it, because you still keep it on the same hand. But as we continue on, last quarter of the chart left to go, it still continues on here, and that's basically going to be the name of the game for the rest of this chart. But with Deku riding high on that singular miss from Jakson, there's really not much they can do here. It's going to take a last-second miss here for Jakson to have any hope of getting back into this.
Very, very doable, though.
Very much so.
Just got needs to hold on to this last stream. And both players hit it, even with the 1/6 coming in at the end.
Very nicely done. Unfortunate for Jakson to find that miss.
Well, we'll see with the ratios how that would have gone without the miss, and I think it's probably safe to assume that would probably still be in favor of Deku even without the miss.
Yeah, for sure. Incredible run to get back into this. 37,300. It's probably not going to be the highest score of the weekend. There are definitely some players that can knock out some pretty funny numbers on these
That's the
stream
scary
maps.
bit about it as well, isn't it?
Can imagine. I'd say we're potentially in the realm of maybe somebody swinging a single-digit 300 run if they can really put it together.
Alright, and Jakson gonna make a very sensible pick, go on and play LN2. Now
Yeah,
this is the map that is a bit more kind of your very varied slider lengths and very difficult LN releases. So maintaining the accuracy on one like this is very, very challenging. So I kind of predict something similar to our previous map, where Jakson is probably going to do very, very well. Deku's probably going to struggle a bit more on this one. But it is a different map, so things could be different.
Yeah, for sure, but like you were alluding to, the varying release lengths on some of these LNs, even when they were more straightforward, like they were in Warzone, they give Deku a bit of an issue. So when you do get these more technical LN charts, I can imagine this is a much easier time for Jakson to swing a performance, even if they do find a trade here or there. But remains to be seen. Still got to make it through. Anything can still happen. And looks like the MP Star command comes out. We're going to get into this third map of this best of 9. A reminder to anybody watching along, first player to 5 points will find the victory in this match, but not guarantee themselves into that semifinals just yet. They do have another match to play later on this weekend.
Yeah, so, I mean, somewhat hopefully for them, they're not giving away too many of their scores that they're capable of, but, you know, so far we're 1-1. But, you know, it's like, we might end up having to play the whole pool. All of their scores would almost be revealed, but, you know, at least they would be getting through to the next round, and just gonna having to play off of what scores they see from their opponent as well.
Yeah, for sure. And as we continue on, very strong start from Jakson, and Deku holding onto the full combo, but taking quite a considerable amount of damage to their accuracy, spotting about 2% of a deficit and about 22,000 points just based on that accuracy alone. And Teezel, what happened to the seals?
Oh, I didn't notice what happened to the seals. Those are, I don't know, rabbits? Are they hamsters? I don't know what those are.
They are creatures that have invaded. The background is now on the skin. That's incredible. But Jakson finding the miss on the transition into these doublets, and that is the opening Deku needed to get themselves back into this. Immediately calling back that deficit, and another miss to boot, and it swings on over to the side of Deku, able to hold on to that full combo despite not having the accuracy advantage, but it is now evened out between the two players going into the back half of the chart.
Is it possible that we're going to see a combo score winning out in Mania? It is very close though. Deku does really need to keep that accuracy as high as possible. Dropping these 200s is very detrimental. Jakson is building that accuracy back up despite the combo drops, and could still take the lead back thanks to that.
Yeah, for sure. Immediately building back up into that middle 98% range, about half a percent ahead of Deku at the moment. 1,500 points. There's still definitely enough time for them to claw this back.
Oh, the score's flickering a wee bit.
Just a little bit. We're playing tug of war with this leaderboard now as we make our way into the last 8th of the chart. Last little build-up section. Can Jakson keep it clean? They have wrenched back that lead from Deku just based on that accuracy alone, despite spawning a couple of misses here. That is why, at the end of the day, in Mania, accuracy can prevail. And
it's not over though. We still have
yet.
This outro. But Deku's been the one to pick up more 200s on these notes. And Jakson is going to take the victory with 5,700 points lead.
That is one where you kind of thank your lucky stars, because usually when you see 7 misses on one side in one key, that usually amounts to a map win for your opponent. But I mean, that accuracy, able to build it almost back up to a 99, is incredible work from Jakson to be able to recover what was a pretty precarious situation. And now Deku up to pick once again. I imagine Rice 2 or 3 are on the cards. The speed pick is also there, but
yeah, probably safer to go with Rice at the moment. Rice 2 for sure. Rice 3 though. Very different type of map. Very much plays more into your kind of polyrhythm kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, but that being said, Hybrid 3 is the pick here, step by step.
Ooh, okay.
That's an interesting one. A bit of a curveball being thrown out by DThree kuu. Maybe seeing the little slip up from Jakson on those doublets in that last LN chart. Going into the hybrids, getting a little bit technical with it. Maybe they can hang on just enough, combo game their way through it to take one of these points.
It's a decent strategy, it just needs to be able to play out.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely one of the hardest charts in this pool, barring the tiebreaker. And one of the longest ones as well, 3 minutes 41 seconds. A lot to be trifled with, a lot of comeback potential in this pick because of how technical it can get.
Yeah, but we're very, very close to seeing a breakpoint on that last map, and with the skill sets of these players, perhaps this could be another map with a decent breakpoint potential.
Yeah, for sure, especially because of the fact that these 1/4 dreams vary in length. Oh, the first 1/8 coming through. DThree kuu finding the slip on the transition out of it, and it gives Jakson a little bit of room to work with in the early goings here.
Yeah, this is a very long map though, 3 minutes 40 seconds. So, small slip up and misses like that over the course of the entire map shouldn't be too bad, as long as you can keep that accuracy up and kind of recover well.
Yeah, for sure. And right now, the miscounts 1 apiece. Jakson trading it back and finding a little bit of a 200 rush. And it damaged their accuracy. DThree kuu trading it as well. These two are virtually neck and neck, trading misses, trading accuracy drops through this early going. Nobody really wants to eke out an advantage. Those 1/8s really putting the players through their paces as they manage to hang on through them. But transitioning out of it's been a bit of a struggle for both of them as we make our way into the second quarter. DThree kuu finding a multitude of misses through them as we continue on here, but still in with a shout.
Yeah, looks like we finally have a player that we can definitely say is in the lead, and it's Jakson, the player that didn't pick this map. So far, things are backfiring a bit for DThree kuu, but with the score difference only being around 12k, it is definitely possible to take this back. Plenty of room for Jakson to make more mistakes, as we've seen earlier on.
Yeah, for sure. Neither player really making it unscathed, but some free time for Jakson to build up the score above that 400 combo cap as DThree kuu tries to meet him there, be able to stem some of the bleeding of the scoreline of 14,000 points. Like you mentioned, not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination, but does become a bit of a precarious task, but there's still half the chart to go, and Jakson misses on the transition going into the next drop.
It's not the biggest drop in the world, but it is going to give DThree kuu the combo advantage, but he drops it as well. Jakson trading it though. Look at the accuracies though. They've become so much closer. DThree kuu actually has the accuracy advantage, and the score just flipped into his favor as well.
Yeah, Jakson finding a couple of slip-ups here, but it's not the end of the world just yet. There's still a quarter of the chart left to go. 2,000 points separating the players at the moment. The accuracy basically negligible at this point. The misses kind of canceling out that potential advantage. But as I said, DThree kuu finds an error miss, a pretty dirty one as well. Combo lock as well. But Jakson trades it back, able to keep it a little bit cleaner, still able to hold on to the score advantage for the moment.
DThree kuu finding some more misses on the 1/6.
Oh, this lead is not safe. There's so many 1/8 bursts here in the ending. And missing on any of the transitions out of them as well.
Oh no, things aren't looking good for DThree kuu, but great for Jakson to be able to take a breakpoint here. Still has to hold strong in the outro though, around 8,000 point score difference. Manages to hit that burst. I think it might just be single taps for the outro.
I think so. I think there's one sneaky gallop here at the end, and both of them hit it. But at the end of the day, it will be Jakson picking up the first breakpoint in this match to make it 1-3. Oh boy, that was going back and forth for a really long time.
Yeah, that was pretty terrifying. A rainbow difference of around 70 though in favor of Jakson, and I think that's kind of. I'd say that's probably kind of what's made the big difference here. But
Yeah,
at the
just
same
able.
time, Jakson picking up like more greats as well, quite a few more, and overall, those are some really close scores.
For sure. I think what really helped is the fact that Jakson was able to hold on to their combo just that tiny bit longer. Not much in between them. And the timing of some of those misses as well. Just being able to build up that tiny little bit of an 8,000 score lead. And when all is said and done, maybe a bit of a misstep from D3kuu here in terms of the pick choices. And when all is said and done, we're going for Hybrid 2 now.
Okay. Seems like a decent pick. I mean, since this is a Saura song though, pretty sure like there's kind of like some strange kind of slowdown kind of section going on, and like Saura also likes to have like some faster sections towards the end of their songs as well. And this is probably reflected in the map as well. I don't believe I've played this one, but so I might totally be making it up, but that's a typical kind of 2-minute Saura sort of formula, so it's probably the case here as well.
Yeah, for sure, and gonna give D3kuu a bit of a headache through this introduction as they find the first drop.
Having this map already be over 200 BPM is decently significant. It's not a super common speed that you see the majority of these sort of one-key maps on, so still pretty fast. Not quite a speed map though.
Yeah, it doesn't have the prolonged sections of like this is still what 200 BPM 1/4 versus potentially pushing 400 500 BPM bursts on that speed pick, but it's enough to give D3kuu a bit of trouble as Jakson now having some free time above this 400 combo cap, 99.7 in terms of the accuracy, having a really nice time on this song at the moment with half of it left to go. D3kuu finding a call block.
Huge drops from D3kuu. Alright, and the density picks back up once again. Seeing 7-foot patterns as well. The patterning itself isn't too difficult, in theory. I think the speed is probably one of the biggest factors for this one.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty straightforward overall, like you were mentioning in terms of the patterning, but the speed can make you definitely misjudge the landing point of some of them, and we see it happening on the transitions out of those streams, just potentially hitting one note over, and especially when it ends on an LN, that's an immediate slider break for both of the players. And as the song comes to an end, it's going to be Jakson capitalizing on that break point, making it a match point situation 1-4 now.
Yeah, really, really strong performance from Jakson. D3kuu is still doing really good, but now has to win the next 3 maps in a row in order to take this to a tiebreaker. Thankfully, 2 of those maps will be D3kuu's pick, so there is a wee bit of an advantage there, but still a tough spot to be in.
For sure. And I mean, there's a couple of options, and it looks like it's going to be Rice 2 for them. So Scream Out going to be the pick, opting not to go for Ghost for pretty good reason. That's a wild card of a Rice pick. I can understand maybe the hesitation towards going for
sure.
it.
Sometimes when you're in kind of such a precarious situation, sometimes just going all out and throwing that curveball option is kind of the necessary option you need to take. Because I'm sure D3kuu finds it pretty difficult, but Jakson probably finds it just as difficult as well. It's not an easy map, and we haven't had this kind of style represented in one key for this tournament yet. Previous
Yeah.
tournaments, absolutely, but not this year. So it's probably the first time that many of our players are encountering it, especially these two, as I don't recall them ever kind of making it sort of to quarterfinals in either of the previous two Joke tournaments.
Yeah, but with that being said, we continue on. We're into the 6th map of this best of 9. Jakson on the cusp of punching their ticket into the second half of semifinals weekend, and we get into a pretty straightforward right chart compared to some of the other things we have seen. Jakson missing on the transition.
Yeah, it's a pretty great pick for Deku. He showcased earlier on just how strong his ratio can be on these kind of just more simplistic maps, just without kind of all the mess of LN. So he's doing really well at the intro. Jackson's not too far behind though.
Yeah,
but another miss is really going to help Deku, almost approaching the 400 combo cap and really taking advantage of the extra score.
Yeah, and those roll bursts not catching out either of the players. But Jakson really needs Deku to find this going into the second half here. They want to try and get back into it, but not really able to establish much of a foothold in this chart. But I imagine they didn't fancy themselves on these particular picks. They just wanted to see if they could maybe tank their way through, sneak a potential breakpoint if Deku were to find a mistake, and maybe just think about what their next pick afterwards is going to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Deku probably can't see it, but 45,000 point score lead is pretty significant. Deku
For sure.
can afford to make multiple mistakes at this stage, but preferably none.
Yeah, for their heart rate, I hope they don't. 99.94, pretty much untouchable accuracy for a lot of the players in this tournament. As we make our way into the final quarter, next transition doesn't catch out either player. Jakson now above that 400 combo cap, maybe a potential to claw back some of the deficit. Maybe not take it fully back into their court, but maybe make it a little bit closer if Deku were to find a bit of a choke on this outro. But I mean, they have been rock steady on this chart so far.
Yeah, holding strong throughout the rest of the outro. I guess the full combo. 997k.
Very nice. A singular 200 to their name. Unfortunate not to get the V1 double S, but probably very happy to get the point there. Making it 2-4 now with Jakson up to pick. And I mean, Hybrid 1 is still on the board for them to go into. That's probably the last pick that could potentially give Deku a bit of trouble.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Maybe Jakson is also thinking about the idea of Rice 3, for example. Maybe it's one that they've practiced, but one that they wanted to leave until kind of more towards the end of the match. Is like, perhaps we're not too sure about it, but just based off of everything we've seen, Hybrid 1 is probably the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely considerations to be made, but for right now, at least Jakson can kind of rest on the fact that they have match point secured. Worst case scenario, they go to tiebreaker, but it looks like they're not gonna want to play around with any of the Rice picks and gonna opt for the final hybrid. Hybrid 1 is going to be the pick for them.
Alright, pretty good choice, yeah. Probably the best out of the 3 remaining maps. So all Jakson needs to do is win this and advance on through the losers bracket. Deku, on the other hand, needs to win this to have another shot with their final pick to take this to the tiebreaker. And not wasting too much time on getting into it.
Yeah, I imagine they're fully warmed up at this point. Gonna want to proceed through this as quickly as humanly possible, at least for their nerves' sake. That's very reminding. The winner of this match will face off against the winner between Bugs Life and Nathan 7978 later on this weekend.
Alright, Jakson off to a bit of a rough start though, dropping the combo. And DEKuu's the one with the significant, the accuracy lead as well. You know, despite most of these being LNs, you know, that they are very, very short LNs once again, so the accuracy is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's just the releases on these long LNs as DEKuU finds the trade back on that 1/6. Jakson trading it as well, hitting a little bit late at the start of that stream. Does manage to regain their composure a little bit, but not really taking advantage here as DEKuU finds another miss.
Yeah, these 1/6 bursts, maybe even 1/8, I can't quite tell. Really throwing these players off, but it's throwing them both off kind of pretty much equally, so DEKuU will remain in the lead for now.
Yeah, but Jakson doing very well to claw back some of this deficit. Able to bring it to about 4 digits here and there with a quarter of the chart left to go. But DEKuU just not able to really find their footing on these 1/6 bursts. Does manage to keep that one clean, but they're trading back and forth, and I think Jakson might have left it a little too late to try and potentially mount a comeback here. Things start to settle down here at the outro. They do not have the accuracy advantage, and it's going to come down to a potential final miss from DEKuU to try and sneak this out at the 11th hour.
Yeah, don't get out until it's completely over. However, score difference of 10k, mostly single taps to the ending final stream. DEKuu's actually going to get the breakpoint back. He's done probably the hardest part that he needed to do.
Yeah.
Return the breakpoint back into his favor. And now he's on his final pick. It's going to be either Rice 3 or Speed. Now in the situation where if Jakson wins this upcoming map, they win the match. But if DEKuU wins, we'll be going to a tiebreaker.
Yeah, first tiebreaker potentially of the weekend. And they're going to opt to go for Speed here. So not wanting to go for the freeform. Let's call it freeform.
Yeah.
Rice 3.
Yeah, it seems like our players this week are a wee bit afraid of it.
Yeah.
We've seen it banned in previous matches, and this time it's the only map that's not being played, not interacted with in any way rather. So hopefully Speed is the exact thing that DEKuu's been looking for. I feel a bit worried about the Speed though, because we've seen both of these players struggling with the higher snapped bursts. This map is basically entirely higher snapped bursts.
Yeah. This is pushing, what, 506 BPM? 1/8 bursts?
Alright, DEKuu's saying around 900k as a score they got in practice. Jakson not revealing theirs.
Yeah, hitting it with the that bodes a load of confidence going into it, but I mean, anything can happen. This is, I think, the longest Rice chart in this pool. And we've seen some wild swings between these two already.
Jakson being the first player to miss, and 2 separate misses at that.
Yeah, just keeping it together on these 1/8s, it's so hard. You can handle them in short succession, but when they start to get elongated and then transitioning back into the 1/4 becomes a very tricky task if you're not used to these specific style of patterns, especially when you get the 2 1/4s in between the gallops. But able to calm it down just a little bit here.
Yeah, Speed is one of those skill sets in 1key that especially, where it can be quite difficult for kind of non-full alt players, because that one hand that's doing all your single tapping is going to get tired very quickly. I believe DEKuU has been practicing complete full alt though. I could be wrong, but I believe that is the case.
Now it's paying off for them at the moment. 99.81 accuracy for the moment. Able to keep those opening bursts very clean as we transition on into the second third of the chart. And it's 56,000 points, but that lead can evaporate in an instant with one messy section. And all Jakson really needs to do is stay within striking distance.
Yeah, we see some streams in this map as well as these kind of triplet kind of sections as well. Missing a huge chunk on those, that will demolish the score.
Yeah, for sure. Bit of a break section before getting into the back half of the chart now. And as we continue on, the hill becoming a bit of a mountain. The good thing is for Jakson that worst case it just goes to tiebreaker here, but I imagine going into this, seeing that they were up 4-1, potentially wanted to avoid that, and they definitely had the opportunity to close it out, but I mean, credit to D3kuu, able to hold on strong through the middle portion of this match to really show off what they're made of, put up some performances that gave them that 10th seed as they eventually do find the drop and are a couple to boot, but they have quite a bit of a buffer to work with, but that lead is shrinking to about 80,000 points with a quarter of the chart left to go.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest section of the map. Jakson flawlessly hitting it though. Just unfortunately all the misses coming in earlier on in the map. That score difference still around 80k and only a slither of map left, so it's going to be very difficult for D3kuu to lose this one, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And unless we see something dramatic happen here at the ending, but Jakson finding the next miss.
There was a 50 from D3kuu.
Map. Oh, there's the miss, but it's a little too late for it to make that much of a difference. There are no more tricks left up this map sleeve. And with that being said, D3kuu secures their 4th point, and we are going to go to tiebreaker now.
All right. Tiebreaker is a pretty tricky map. Puts pretty much every skill set that we have just seen into one map. So we will truly determine who the better player is.
Yeah, I mean, the real beneficiary of this match, the two players that are going to be facing off later on this weekend. Some pretty valuable information, regardless of who wins this one, as to a number of scores set by both of them.
Yeah, really hard fought battle as well, so those scores are probably legitimate ones as well. Probably no sandbagging going on to sort of protect their true score potential. These players now just have to put their all into this map.
Yeah, just gotta leave it all out on the table and hope that your score is higher in the end. This is maybe a step harder than last weekend's. I think some would debate that a little bit faster, a little bit trickier. Maybe not as polyrhythmic as last weekend's tiebreaker was at times, but definitely still a bit of a gauntlet to go through as the players now load in. And I don't know about you, Teezel, but I think we're going to see some pretty insane back and forth throughout this chart.
Yeah, I have a feeling so. There'll be definitely sections that favour Jakson more and sections that favour D3kuu more. It's just who's going to be the one to come out on top at the end. That is a question that I can't answer this early on.
What we can answer, though, is the fact that both players have traded a couple of misses already, and nobody wants to take the reins. Nobody really wants to take the lead in this chart at the moment, as they're both really struggling through this introduction, and maybe a little bit of nerves playing a factor here as they both fall down into that 94% range. Basically dead even. It is hundreds, tens of points separating the two players going into the second quarter of the chart.
Oh, pretty big misses from D3kuu there on the LN section.
I imagine the 1/8, 1/6 bursts are going to give Deku a bit of a nightmare throughout this chart. For Jakson, a couple of these speedier sections, just not overstreaming is going to be the name of the game for them. But right now they are riding high with a 13,000 point lead. Can evaporate in an instant. The build up here can kind of ignore the 1/4 LNs. And Jakson makes a slighter break into the drop. Deku trades it back eventually here as we get into a bit of a harder LN section.
Score lead just increased by about 7,000 in favor of Jakson. And it is climbing a bit as Deku is really struggling with the accuracy on these LNs.
Yeah, these are the sections that Jakson can really take advantage of their LN proficiency, at least in comparison to Deku, as the lead grows to about 30,000. Still in the first half of the chart though, so there's still plenty of time for a potential comeback. There's still definitely some very hard sections to read through. As we continue on here, Jakson starting to trade back some of the misses here, gonna bleed some of the points that they had built up. But with Deku not above that 400 combo cap, not really in a position to really capitalize, especially because of the fact that they're about 1% behind in terms of the accuracy as well.
Alright, there's a good break from Jakson for Deku. Score difference is now around 20,000. And he has reached that 400 combo as well, and immediately loses it. That's rough.
It's opportunities going by the wayside. I think both of them, once this match is over, will probably think long and hard as to some of the decisions they've made in this match, some of the golden opportunities to close it out to potentially avoid this situation. But nevertheless, we continue on. 24,000 points in favor of Jakson going into the last third here.
Yeah, another slightly varied SV section. Both players holding on pretty well though. Score difference is still climbing slightly in favor of Jakson though, hitting 30k.
Oh, the quarter of the chart left to go. They have both kind of settled the nerves a little bit, back up into the S rank range, 97 to 96 at the moment. Jakson finds a massive follow block.
Oh. This is Deku's opportunity to take this back.
Oh, but
and he
misses the break.
Messes on his own. Oh, the Ellen section really messing him up. Similar level of drops that Jakson just had.
Oh, but basically Jackson's repaying some of the misses that Deku found throughout some of the earlier sections. They have built up potentially enough of a cushion to weather the storm, and Deku finding another column lock. It is so easy to bleed so many misses because of the fact that you start off one of these sections on the wrong foot. It ruins the rest of it, regardless of your best efforts to get back on time. And as things start to calm down just a little bit here, I think the dust is beginning to settle on the performances of these two players. And going into it, Deku, the 10th seed, going up against Jakson, the 20th seed. And it looks like we're going to have an upset on our hands here, as Jakson manages to put away Deku by a score of 4-5 to punch their ticket into the second half of quarterfinals weekend. A marvelous performance when it was needed to knock Deku out of JOKE3.
Yeah, just really, really great scores from both of them. 833k from Jakson with 799 from Deku, just shy of the 800k. That was very clearly a map that just very difficult for both of the players, in the sense that, you know, that there was no like very clear winner for the most of the map. Sure, Jakson generally was the one holding the lead, but Deku was right there, ready to snatch up that lead again if Jakson found any single more mistakes. But fortunately for Jakson, those mistakes didn't come out quite enough for Deku to take the win, and they're going to advance on through the losers bracket into the second half of this weekend. Deku, unfortunately though, seeded very high, showed what significant improvement they've been able to make from their previous tournament performance within Joke, but unfortunately they are out in the quarterfinals. But we very much appreciate them coming in and playing for us.
Yeah, for sure. Put up some pretty incredible scores, but unfortunately not enough at the end of the day. But that will do it for us here. Quick little block of one match. But we'll be back at 20 UTC for the next couple. It's going to be Era Punish going up against Corey, I believe.
Yes, that's
That-
correct.
That one is a bit up in the air, but regardless, we do have a couple of matches coming up after that as well. Sunny Fangirl going against Mini Egg 23 and Bugs Life taking on Nathan 7978. The winner of that match will take on Jakson later this weekend. And then we round it out with myself taking on Dimples Are Me at 22 UTC. Teezel, you got anything else left to add?
No, I think that's it. Just you know, keep an eye out on the Discord for all the stream pings, and we'll see you next time.
Carry on.
Big whoa, pockets on swole.